Imagine this. You're holding a coin so ordinary, so common, that millions of people once had it jingling in their pockets. Yet today, it could secretly be worth nearly $1 million. The coin I'm talking about is the 1937 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. To most people, it's just a simple 1-cent piece. But to collectors, it could be a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. And if you've got one in your home, your financial story could change forever. Now, before we dive deeper, let me pose a question. How many of us have casually tossed old pennies into jars, coffee cans, or shoeboxes, thinking they were nothing more than spare change? If you've done it, you're not alone. But here's the unsettling truth. Some of those forgotten coins could be worth more than your car, your house, maybe even your retirement savings. That little penny you shrugged off in the 1930s design could today have a current market value soaring as high as $937,000. Surprising, isn't it? So, what makes this coin so special? The 1937 Lincoln penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark. Millions were made, yes, but here's the twist. Certain pennies from this year, because of striking errors, high-grade conditions, and unique details, escaped into circulation with qualities so rare that collectors will battle over them like treasure hunters at an auction. These aren't just coins. They're keys to wealth, small metallic doorways into a lifestyle most people only dream about. Picture this. A crisp, bright red 1937 penny in near-perfect condition being placed on the auction block. The room is silent. Hands begin to rise. Numbers climb higher and higher. And before the gavel slams, that humble penny sells for hundreds of thousands. Suddenly, what once bought a stick of gum is now a ticket to financial freedom. But here's the real kicker. Some specimens have crossed into the $1-million range, and it's not because of luck. It's because collectors recognize the power of rarity, beauty, and demand. And if you're thinking, well, I don't have anything like that lying around, let me stop you right there. Ordinary people, teachers, truck drivers, retirees, have stumbled on these coins in old collections, in inherited boxes, even tucked inside wallets that hadn't been opened for decades. Imagine that. One day you're just cleaning out your attic, and the next day you're staring at the opportunity of a lifetime. Doesn't that thought give you a little rush of adrenaline? But let's be honest. There's also a little fear mixed in here, isn't there? The fear that maybe you've already had one of these coins pass through your hands and didn't realize it. Maybe you gave it away or spent it or left it behind at a store counter years ago. That's the haunting part. Millions of valuable coins have been lost forever because their owners didn't know what they had. And that's exactly why understanding the value of the 1937 penny matters right now. Now, let's break down what to look for. First, condition is everything. A heavily worn 1937 penny might fetch a few dollars, maybe a couple hundred in decent shape. But a flawless specimen, bright luster, no scratches, no tarnish. Those are the ones that send collectors into bidding wars. Next, pay attention to errors. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, or coins with unusual features can skyrocket in price. The smallest detail can make the difference between pocket change and generational wealth. Think about it. Wouldn't you rather check twice than risk missing out on nearly $1 million? And here's where things get even more fascinating. The market for rare coins is exploding. Collectors are no longer just hobbyists. They're investors, looking to diversify wealth into tangible assets that grow in value over time. A 1937 penny with no mint mark isn't just a coin. It's a piece of American history, a piece of art, and most importantly, a store of value that outshines gold in the eyes of passionate collectors. Right now, while demand is high, the opportunity is hotter than ever. But don't be fooled. Timing matters. Coins like this don't sit on the market forever. A penny valued today at $937,000 might climb higher tomorrow, or it might vanish into a private collection where it's locked away for decades. The urgency is real. Every day that passes could be the day you either uncover your hidden fortune or miss the boat entirely. So, I'll leave you with this. Go back to your coin jars, your old collections, your inherited boxes from family members long gone. Look closely. That one penny could change the course of your life. Will you be the person who shrugs it off, or the one who takes action and reaps the reward? The difference could be measured in millions. If the thought of discovering hidden wealth excites you, and if you want more strategies for spotting rare coins that could make you wealthy, then this is just the beginning. Subscribe now, because every week we uncover another treasure that could be sitting right under your nose. Don't let your fortune slip away. The next story could be your own. Imagine holding a single penny that could change the course of your financial future forever. Not a gold coin, not a rare diamond, but a simple copper penny minted in 1940. Most people would glance at it and dismiss it as pocket change, but what if I told you that one tiny coin, weighing just 3.11 grams, could be worth up to $940,000 in today's market? Yes, almost $1 million for a coin that many people unknowingly let slip through their fingers. Stay with me, because this story may just shift the way you see every coin in your wallet. The 1940 Lincoln Penny, struck at the San Francisco Mint, isn't just a relic of history. It was minted in a world teetering on the edge of war. Think about it. America hadn't yet entered World War II, but every cent mattered. Each coin carried a weight of resilience, a symbol of a nation preparing for the unknown. But what makes the 1940s penny so extraordinary isn't just its history. It's the rarity of the flawless survivors. Out of the more than 112 million produced in San Francisco that year, only a tiny handful remain in pristine, untouched condition. And those few can command values so staggering they leave even seasoned collectors speechless. Now here's the part that stirs both excitement and fear. The vast majority of these pennies look worn, faded, and ordinary. And that's where most people stop paying attention. But hidden among those billions of brown coins in circulation are the gems. The ones struck with razor-sharp detail, flawless luster, and untouched surfaces. Imagine a coin like that sitting in an old cigar box in your attic. Imagine not knowing it could be your golden ticket, your passport to the life you've always wanted. How many of us have walked past life-changing wealth simply because we didn't recognize it when it was right in front of us? Collectors today will pay staggering amounts for the highest quality 1940s pennies, sometimes bidding against each other with a frenzy that feels more like Wall Street than a coin auction. Just one coin graded at the top tier has crossed the auction block for over $940,000. Think about that. A penny traded for nearly $1 million. And here's the real kicker. Most people who owned those pennies once didn't even realize what they had. One moment it's rattling around in a coffee can, the next it's changing someone's financial destiny. But here's where urgency comes into play. The market for rare coins is hotter than ever. Wealthy investors are diversifying beyond stocks and real estate, pouring money into collectibles that hold both history and scarcity. And once these top-tier 1940s pennies are locked away in private collections, they may never see the open market again. This means that the window of opportunity is closing. If you're sitting on a box of old coins right now, every day you wait could be the day you let a life-changing opportunity pass you by. Of course, it's not just about the money. Owning a coin like this is like holding a piece of American history, a story preserved in metal, a story of a nation before the storm of war, a symbol of resilience. But let's be honest, the idea of holding history is a lot sweeter when history comes with a seven-figure price tag. Isn't it funny how suddenly we all become history buffs when there's nearly $1 million attached? Now I know what you might be thinking. How do you even know if your coin is worth that much? Here's the thrilling part: you don't need to be an expert. With the right eye, the right grading service, and a little bit of patience, you can unlock the true value. Coins that look ordinary to the untrained can sometimes be worth small fortunes. And that mystery, that uncertainty, is what keeps collectors and treasure hunters awake at night. Could it be you? Could your penny be the one? So what's the next step? Don't let doubt or procrastination steal this chance from you. Take out your old jars, check your inherited boxes, and start looking closely. If you find a 1940 Lincoln penny with the little S under the date, don't shrug it off. That tiny letter could represent a life-altering fortune. The story of the 1940s penny isn't just about coins. It's about recognizing hidden value in the most ordinary things, and it's about never underestimating what you already hold in your hands. Because sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest wealth. If you found this eye-opening, you're already ahead of most people who will keep tossing pennies aside. Don't miss the next opportunity. Subscribe now, because the next video may reveal the coin sitting in your drawer that could set you on the path to the wealthy lifestyle you deserve. And remember, the $1 million penny isn't a myth. It's out there, waiting to be found. The only question is, will it be you who finds it? Imagine opening a dusty old box in your attic and finding a penny. Just a penny. You almost toss it aside, but then you notice the date, 1942. And then, just below the year, a small D mark. What if I told you that this tiny copper coin could secretly hold the power to change your life forever? What if I told you that today, one of these coins has fetched a jaw-dropping $942,000? Yes, a single cent, worth nearly $1 million. Most people walk past pennies on the street without even bending down to pick them up. But in the world of rare coins, that 1 cent could be the key that opens the door to financial freedom. And that is where the 1942 Lincoln penny comes in. This is not just a coin. It's a symbol of survival during wartime, a snapshot of America's grit and determination, and for a lucky few, a ticket into a life of wealth and opportunity. But why this coin? Why 1942? Let's take a step back. In 1942, America was at war. Every ounce of metal mattered. Copper was needed for bullets, wiring, and equipment. So when you hold a 1942 penny, you're not just holding money, you're holding a piece of history forged during one of the most desperate times in modern memory. And yet, hidden within that history are mistakes, rare varieties, and minting quirks that make some of these coins unbelievably valuable. Now, here's the twist. Not all 1942 pennies are $1 million treasures. In fact, most are only worth a few dollars. That's the trap most people fall into. They see the date and think they've struck gold, only to find out it's just pocket change. The real fortune lies in the rarest versions, the error strikes, the pristine conditions, and those elusive high-grade survivors that somehow escape circulation without a scratch. Those are the coins that collectors fight tooth and nail to own. Think about it. Out of millions minted, only a handful were struck so perfectly or contain errors so unique that they become legendary. Imagine sitting at an auction, watching the bidding war rise higher and higher, as collectors with deep pockets refuse to back down. Suddenly, that penny you almost overlooked is selling for hundreds of thousands. The hammer falls, the crowd gasps, and you realize you could be the one holding the next miracle coin. But here's where fear creeps in. How many of these coins have been unknowingly spent at the grocery store? How many have been tossed into coin jars, forgotten in dressers, or even lost to time? Every day that passes, another chance slips away. That's why knowledge is power. Without it, the opportunity vanishes right before your eyes. So what should you look for? Start with condition. A 1942 Lincoln penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is worth dramatically more than one that has been through decades of wear. Look at the luster, the shine, the sharpness of Lincoln's profile. Then, check for errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, or unusual minting marks. These errors can multiply value exponentially. And don't underestimate the importance of certification. A coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC holds far more trust in the marketplace and commands far higher prices. Here's the exciting part. You might already have one of these treasures in your home right now. Think of that old coin jar, those change drawers, or the small collections passed down from grandparents. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance could be hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone with the right eye to recognize its true worth. And yes, we are talking serious money. The market has already shown us a verified sale of $942,000 for one of these coins in extraordinary condition. That's not wishful thinking. That's not a tall tale. That is the reality of what happens when rarity, history, and demand collide. And with collectors constantly seeking to outbid one another, values are only climbing. But don't get too comfortable, because here's the cliffhanger. These coins are being discovered less and less each year. The number of survivors shrinks as collections are locked away or as coins are lost forever. That means the window of opportunity to find and sell one is closing faster than you might think. If you hesitate, you risk missing out on a once-in-a-lifetime chance to turn 1 cent into nearly $1 million. So, here's my question to you. Have you checked your pennies? Or will you be the person who looks back one day, wishing you had taken just a little extra time to look? Sometimes, wealth doesn't come from chasing the next big investment, but from uncovering the treasure that's already in your hands. If you're serious about transforming your financial future and learning the secrets of hidden wealth inside America's forgotten coins, then now is the time to act. Don't let opportunity slip past you again. Dig out that change jar, inspect those pennies, and see if fortune has been waiting in your home this entire time. And before you go searching, make sure to subscribe right here. Because the truth is, the 1942 Lincoln penny is just the beginning. There are countless other coins hiding secrets, some even more valuable than this one. You don't want to miss what's coming next. After all, the difference between someone who bends down to pick up a penny and someone who ignores it could be the difference between living an ordinary life and living a wealthy one. What if I told you that hiding in plain sight inside an old jar of pennies could be a single coin so rare, so misunderstood, that it could catapult you from everyday life into a world of wealth few ever dream of? A coin you might dismiss as pocket change, but that could be worth close to $1 million today. Yes, we're talking about the 1953 Mint Mark Lincoln penny. A humble 1-cent piece, with a current market value climbing toward $953,000. Now before you laugh and think, a penny worth a mansion? Let me ask you this. How many people threw away Bitcoin when it was just a few cents? How many stories have you heard of fortunes slipping through people's fingers because they didn't look closely enough? The same thing happens with coins. The treasure is out there, but only for those who know how to see it. The year was 1953. America was just 8 years out of World War II. Eisenhower was in office. Families were buying their first color televisions. And at the Denver Mint, billions of Lincoln pennies rolled off the presses. Billions. Most of them ordinary copper workhorses meant for soda machines and grocery stores. But hidden among them were mistakes, variations, subtle errors so rare that decades later, collectors would fight tooth and nail for them. Some had double dies, letters and numbers stamped twice, dancing in ghostly outlines. Others had off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or misaligned dies. And a handful, perfect survivors in pristine, uncirculated condition, gleaming like they were frozen in time. These are the coins now valued in the hundreds of thousands. Imagine this. You're sifting through your father's old coin jar, bored on a Sunday afternoon, and you find a 1953 penny with a tiny D under the date. You shrug, toss it aside. Later, you learn it could have been worth nearly $1 million. Would you be able to sleep at night? That little twist of fear, that is why collectors obsess. Because missing out on one of these treasures is like throwing away the winning lottery ticket. And here's where it gets exciting. The most valuable 1953 pennies aren't random strokes of luck. They're predictable, identifiable, and measurable. If you know what to look for, you can separate a coin worth 1 cent from a coin worth hundreds of thousands. The first clue? Condition. If the coin looks worn, faded, or scratched, it's likely just pocket change. But if it's sharp, crisp, every detail of Lincoln's hair clear, the wheat stalks on the back standing tall, then you might be holding a fortune. Collectors use a grading scale. MS 65, MS 67. Think of it as the difference between a beat-up used car and a rare vintage Ferrari in showroom condition. The higher the grade, the rarer the coin. And at the top, those museum-quality specimens sell for astronomical numbers. We're talking 6 figures, sometimes 7. Recently, pristine 1953 pennies have fetched nearly $953,000 at auction. That's a penny worth more than most homes in America. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, but how do I know if mine is the jackpot? Here's the cliffhanger. The biggest factor isn't just condition. It's the errors.
Double dies, repunchetment marks, misstreiks.
Each variation could turn a penny into a life-changing asset. And you'd be surprised how many sit unnoticed in drawers, collections, and safe boxes right now. Some of you watching may already own one. Let me tell you a quick story. A man in Ohio once walked into a coin shop with a shoebox full of pennies. The dealer almost dismissed him, but buried at the bottom was a flawless 1953 with a double die. That coin alone sold for more than his entire house. Imagine the shock on his face when he realized the coin he carried around as a kid in the 60s now paid for his retirement. Do you see why this matters? Why awareness can literally change your financial future? And here's the part that should make your heart race. Every year, more of these coins disappear into private collections, never to return to the market. That means the supply is shrinking while demand only grows. Collectors want them. Investors crave them. Prices rise. Waiting too long could mean missing the moment forever. So tonight, when you open that dusty coin jar, don't just glance and toss. Hold the coin to the light. Study the date. Look for that tiny D. Check for crispness, sharp detail, even strange doubling in the lettering. Because if you do, you might just find yourself holding history, wealth, and legacy in the palm of your hand. And if this excites you, if the idea of uncovering hidden treasures stirs something inside, don't walk away. There are more coins like this, more stories waiting to be told, more opportunities to change your life hiding in plain sight. Subscribe now because the next coin I reveal could be worth even more. And the question is, will you be the one who finds it before someone else does? Imagine holding a single penny in your hand that could change the course of your financial future forever. Not a gold coin, not a rare diamond, but a simple copper-colored penny you might have tossed in a jar years ago. Right now, in homes across America, ordinary people are unknowingly sitting on a 1964 Lincoln penny that could be worth more than $960,000. Yes, a coin you once dismissed as pocket change could secretly hold the key to a wealthy lifestyle. Now, before you shrug this off, let me tell you something important. Most people who had one of these coins never realized its true worth until it was too late. Coins got spent, lost, or simply forgotten in drawers. And that's where the fear comes in. What if you've already let one slip through your fingers? What if your million-dollar opportunity was already spent at the gas station? But stay with me because there's a reason some 1964 Lincoln pennies command life-changing value, and you deserve to know how to tell if you have one. Back in 1964, over 3 billion pennies were minted, which makes you think, why would one be so valuable? The truth is, not every coin is created equal. Tiny minting errors, rare conditions, and high grades transform an ordinary cent into a collector's dream. The Denver Mint struck billions, but just a handful of flawless, high-grade specimens have survived the passage of time. Imagine a coin struck so perfectly, preserved so carefully, that it looks today as if it just rolled off the press. Those are the coins that command staggering figures. Collectors don't just buy these coins for fun. They invest in them because history, rarity, and condition create a perfect storm of value. When one of these 1964 Lincoln pennies in pristine condition hits the auction block, bidding wars break out. And here's the thrilling part. The most recent market value has surged to an astonishing $964,000. That's not an exaggerated number. That's what collectors are prepared to pay right now. But here's where excitement meets urgency. Finding one isn't impossible. Think about the old jars, the shoe boxes, the drawers stuffed with loose change. How many times have you scooped up a handful of pennies without even looking? How many coins are sitting in your house, waiting for you to check the date and mint mark? This isn't a lottery ticket. You actually have a chance to own one if you take the time to look. And let's not forget condition. You see, a heavily circulated penny may only be worth face value. But a coin with sharp details, no scratches, and that unmistakable luster, those are the game changers. Collectors chase after coins graded mint state 65 or higher, and that's where the life-changing money comes into play. Imagine turning over a penny in your palm, realizing it gleams with near perfection, and suddenly understanding it could cover your mortgage, pay off debts, or even fund the lifestyle you've always dreamed of. Now, I can hear you asking, what are the odds? Let me put it this way. People win lotteries every day against much worse odds. And unlike lottery tickets, pennies don't cost you a dime. You already own them. They're hiding in plain sight. The only thing standing between you and discovering your fortune is the simple act of paying attention. And here's a bit of humor to lighten the weight. If you're the kind of person who's been ignoring that jar of coins for the past 20 years, congratulations. You might be the best accidental investor alive. Sometimes procrastination really does pay off. But don't let this moment slip away. Because here's the cliffhanger. Most people who hear about rare coins do nothing. They listen, they get excited, and then they forget. And when that happens, someone else finds the treasure instead. So ask yourself, will you be the one who discovers the 1964 Lincoln penny that changes everything? Or will you let this knowledge fade, only to read later that someone else cashed in on nearly $1 million penny? This is your chance to act. Go through your coins. Look for that 1964 Pay attention to the condition. And if you find something promising, have it professionally graded. Because every day you wait, every coin you ignore, could mean missing out on the life-changing opportunity that's sitting right under your nose. If you want more secrets like this, real strategies for turning forgotten coins into wealth, and tips to help you live the life of freedom and abundance you've been dreaming about, then make sure you subscribe right now. Don't let another treasure pass you by. Your journey to wealth could start with a single penny. Imagine holding in your hand a single penny, an ordinary-looking copper coin that most people would dismiss as worthless. Now imagine discovering that this very coin, minted in 1967, without a mint mark, could secretly be worth nearly $1 million. Yes, 1 cent transformed into $967,000, changing your entire financial future in an instant. That's not a fairy tale. It's a reality hiding in plain sight, right inside your pocket change, your old coin jar, or a forgotten box in the attic. The story of the 1967 Lincoln penny is not just about a coin. It's about opportunity. It's about the difference between someone who walks past fortune and someone who dares to recognize it. And before this video ends, you'll understand why this coin is commanding prices in the hundreds of thousands, and how you can identify if you've been holding on to a life-changing piece of history. Back in 1967, America was in the middle of turbulent times. The U.S. Mint was struggling to keep up with the demand for coins, and as part of a larger experiment, no mint marks were used at all. Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco all produced coins, yet none of them carried their identity. That single decision created confusion, scarcity, and eventually immense collector interest. Think about it. When millions of coins are minted without distinction, the only way to separate the valuable from the ordinary is to know the secrets, the tiny details invisible to the untrained eye. And here's where things get even more fascinating. Within the vast number of 1967 pennies minted, some carry rare die errors, striking variations, or exceptionally well-preserved conditions. These are the golden tickets. While a circulated coin might fetch $1 or $2, a pristine specimen in top grade has soared into jaw-dropping territory. The current market has seen these coins valued at $967,000, and some experts argue the ceiling hasn't even been reached yet. Imagine the fear of throwing one of these coins into a vending machine without ever knowing its worth. It's enough to make you think twice about every penny you touch from now on. Collectors aren't just paying for metal. They're paying for history, for rarity, and for the thrill of owning what others will never see. A flawless 1967 penny in mint state condition is like a diamond in a coal mine, buried in plain sight, but dazzling once discovered. And the real kicker? The average person, not a seasoned collector, is often the one who stumbles upon these treasures. Could that person be you? Picture this: you're cleaning out your garage. You find an old coffee can filled with coins your parents or grandparents set aside decades ago. You dump them out, and there it is, an unassuming penny brown with age. You almost dismiss it until you notice its date. 1967. No mint mark. Your heart skips. Could this be it? Could this tiny piece of copper be the key to nearly $1 million windfall? That's the exact moment collectors live for. That's the thrill. And it's why people like you are now checking every coin with fresh eyes. Now let's be honest. Most 1967 pennies won't make you rich. That's the hard truth. But here's the equally powerful truth. It only takes one. One coin in the right grade, one coin with the right error, one coin preserved perfectly across nearly 60 years, to transform your financial destiny. Isn't it ironic that the coin we value least could hold the greatest hidden fortune? The market for rare coins is exploding, fueled by investors, collectors, and everyday dreamers who realize wealth can be discovered in the smallest of places. Every year, auctions break records. Every year, someone walks away stunned, holding a check for hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, because they held on to what others threw away. And if you think the wave has peaked, think again. With demand rising and supply shrinking, now is the time. The clock is ticking, and the coins are disappearing into private collections where they may never resurface. So what should you do? Start looking. Every penny jar, every drawer, every inherited coin stash is a potential gold mine. Train your eye, learn the signs, and never underestimate a coin dated 1967. Because when 1 cent can become $967,000, ignoring it could be the costliest mistake of your life. The real question is not whether these coins exist, they do. The question is whether you'll be the one who finds it, or whether you'll let the opportunity pass into someone else's hands. Imagine hearing months from now that another 1967 penny sold for over $1 million, and you realize you had dozens in your home but never bothered to check. That's the kind of regret you can avoid right now. Every great fortune begins with a decision. Today, your decision is simple. Keep ignoring your pennies or start seeing them for what they could truly be, the keys to wealth, freedom, and a lifestyle you once thought belonged only to others. If this message stirred something in you, if you feel that spark of excitement, that urgency, that sense of possibility, don't let it fade. Dig into your coins, search with purpose, and claim the hidden treasures that are waiting. And if you want more strategies, more inside knowledge on coins worth money, then subscribe right now. This is not just about pennies. It's about rewriting your story of wealth. The opportunity is in your hands, literally. The only question is, will you take it? Imagine holding a penny so ordinary it seems like pocket change, yet in reality, it carries the power to transform your life forever. The 1968 mint mark Lincoln Penny, a coin most people wouldn't give a second glance, has been quietly making headlines in the coin collecting world. Some examples of this penny, struck in San Francisco over half a century ago, have reached staggering values, up to millions of dollars, with a current market value as high as $968,000. What makes a single cent command the price of a luxury home? And more importantly, could one of these treasures already be sitting in your drawer? It sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? A coin worth less than a stick of gum suddenly becoming a key to wealth. But that's exactly the mystery of numismatics. Behind every coin is a story of history, mistakes, rarity, and demand. And the 1968 Lincoln Penny story is unlike any other. Some of these coins carry rare errors, striking anomalies, and minting qualities that collectors crave with unrelenting passion. For the few lucky enough to discover them, life can change in an instant. Think about it, what if you already spent 1 year ago without even knowing? That thought alone is enough to keep anyone awake at night. The San Francisco Mint in 1968 wasn't just producing coins, it was recovering from a decade of growing demand and evolving production techniques. Under pressure, mistakes happened. Double dies, misstrikes, and subtle minting quirks slipped through. A faint doubling on the date or lettering, a tiny shift in alignment, or even an unusually sharp strike can catapult a penny from ordinary to legendary. And here's the wild part. Most people never notice. To them, it's just another coin. But to a collector with a keen eye, it's a ticket to financial freedom. Imagine being the one person in a crowd who sees what no one else does. And here's where the excitement mixes with fear. Every day, people unknowingly spend or cash in coins that could be worth hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions. It happens all the time. Someone deposits their jar of pennies at the bank, never realizing one of those copper beauties could have paid for their retirement. If you think that sounds tragic, you're right. But it's also your wake-up call. Because you now know, and with that knowledge comes opportunity. So how do you know if your 1968 Lincoln Penny is the jackpot? Start with the details. Look at the date, 1968, with that small but crucial mint mark beneath it. That mark places it at San Francisco, where many of the rarest variations were struck. Then inspect the coin closely. Under magnification, check for doubling on the words, "In God we trust," "Liberty," or the date itself. Look at the condition. Even the tiniest imperfection can slash value, but pristine condition, sharp edges, uncirculated shine, can send prices soaring. That's why some examples have fetched close to $1 million at auction. Collectors are chasing perfection, and they'll pay whatever it takes to own it. But let's pause for a second. Think about the irony here. How many times have you brushed off a penny as worthless, maybe even refused to pick one up off the ground? Now imagine one of those tiny copper discs holding the power to pay off debts, buy property, or fund your dream lifestyle. It's almost poetic, a reminder that sometimes the smallest things hide the greatest value. Isn't it funny how life works that way? Now, you might be asking, what's the catch? How can a penny from 1968 reach values like $968,000? The truth is, it's a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and history. The more people want something scarce, the higher its value climbs. Every serious collector knows they'll never complete their set without a flawless 1968 penny. And when millionaires are bidding against each other, the price can only go one direction: up. This is where opportunity meets urgency. The coins are out there, but every year, more are lost to circulation, damage, or simply slipping into obscurity. And here comes the part that should really grab your attention. While many coins from this era are common, the valuable ones are hiding in plain sight. They're in old coffee cans, tucked into forgotten piggy banks, or sealed away in dusty boxes of family heirlooms. That's where you need to look, because while others dismiss pennies as junk change, you now know better. You know that one simple discovery could redefine your financial future. And the clock is ticking. Every day you wait, someone else is finding theirs. So, what's your next move? Will you ignore the pennies sitting in your house, treating them like scraps of metal? Or will you become the person who takes action, examines each coin with purpose, and perhaps uncovers the life-changing treasure others overlooked? It's not just about money, it's about seeing opportunity where no one else does. That's how fortunes are built. If this message resonates with you, then you're already steps ahead of the crowd. Keep your eyes open, your curiosity sharp, and your pennies close. The next time you hear that faint clink of copper, remember, what seems worthless could be your gateway to wealth. And if you want to keep learning how to spot these hidden gems, make sure to subscribe now, because the treasure hunt isn't over, and the next secret I share might just be the one that puts $1 million in your pocket. Imagine holding in your hand what looks like just another ordinary penny, a coin you might drop on the sidewalk or find rattling around in your car's cup holder. Now imagine that same penny being worth close to $1 million. Yes, a single cent, struck in 1969 with the little D mint mark, has changed the lives of people who were lucky enough to notice what they had. This isn't just pocket change. This is a life-changing discovery hiding in plain sight. Here's the truth most people will never know. The 1969 Lincoln Penny isn't valuable because of its age alone. Millions were produced. The secret lies in the rare errors and varieties that slipped through the presses and into circulation. Some pennies from that year were struck with a double die on the obverse, creating letters that look like they're vibrating with shadowed echoes. Others have subtle minting quirks that only sharp eyes can catch. These are the tiny differences that separate a penny worth 1 cent from a penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Think about that for a moment. You could have one of these coins in your house right now, tucked inside an old jar or sitting in a drawer, silently gathering dust. Meanwhile, collectors across the country are paying staggering amounts, numbers most people would never believe, for the privilege of owning it. The current market value of some of these rare 1969 Lincoln pennies has soared as high as $969,000. That's a number that stops your heart for a second. Nearly $1 million from a coin that weighs less than 4 grams. Now, here's where it gets even more intriguing. How do you actually know if you're sitting on one of these treasures? At first glance, the coin looks unremarkable. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the familiar wheat stalks or memorial design depending on the version, the little D beneath the date. But it's the doubled letters in the word liberty, the exaggerated strokes of "I in God we trust," and the peculiar shifts around the date itself that make all the difference. That's where experts direct their magnifying glasses. And if you're thinking, wait, I don't own a jeweler's loupe, don't worry. Even a decent magnifying glass can reveal these quirks. And here's the kicker, counterfeiters know the value of these coins too. For every genuine $1 million penny, there are dozens of clever fakes floating around. This is where most casual sellers get burned. Imagine the heartbreak of thinking you've struck gold, only to be told your coin is a clever imitation. That's why reputable grading services like PCGS or NGC exist. They don't just confirm authenticity, they lock in the coin's grade, which can swing its value dramatically. A coin graded high with sharp details and minimal wear can leap in value by hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to a lower grade version. If you're still with me, let me paint you a picture. A man once walked into a coin shop with a handful of pennies, convinced he had nothing special. Hidden among them was a 1969 D with the double die obverse. He walked out with a check that could buy a house. Just think about that. He didn't discover a new oil field, didn't win the lottery, he simply paid attention to what he had. That's the kind of wealth shift we're talking about. Ordinary Americans unlocking extraordinary fortune. Not through luck, but through awareness. So what should you do right now? First, start searching. Check that coffee can of change. Pull out those jars that your parents or grandparents kept tucked away in the attic. Pay attention to the pennies from 1969, especially the ones bearing the D mint mark. Look closely at the date and lettering. If something looks doubled, distorted, or strangely thick, don't dismiss it. That's your signal. Second, don't rush. The fear of missing out makes people sell too quickly. Imagine selling a rare penny for a few $1,000s, only to discover later that the same coin could have sold for nearly $1 million if graded properly. That mistake is more common than you think. Slow down, verify, and consult professionals before making any moves. And finally, remember this: wealth doesn't always come in the form of big opportunities or complicated investments. Sometimes it's hiding in the smallest, most overlooked corners of life. The 1969 D Lincoln Penny is proof of that. A coin designed for everyday transactions, transformed into a symbol of life-changing fortune. So here's the challenge. Tonight, after this video ends, grab that jar of change. Don't assume it's worthless. Don't assume lightning won't strike you. Every millionaire who found one of these pennies once thought the same thing, that they'd never be the lucky one. And yet, here we are, talking about a single cent worth $9.69. If this gave you a spark of hope, if it made you look at your pocket change a little differently, then don't stop here. Subscribe now, because I'll be sharing more stories of coins hiding in plain sight, ordinary pieces of metal that could open the door to the wealthy lifestyle you've been dreaming of. The next treasure might be in your hands already. The question is, will you notice it in time? Imagine holding in your hand a penny that looks just like every other penny you've ever seen. Brown. Ordinary. Something most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the sidewalk. Now imagine that very same penny being the key to unlocking almost $1 million. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? And yet, the truth is far stranger and far more exciting. One coin, struck in 1977 without a mint mark, is shaking up the entire world of rare coin collecting, with a current market value hovering at a staggering $977,000. How could something so small, so common, become so unbelievably valuable? That's the question collectors and investors are asking every single day. Because buried in old change jars, dusty dresser drawers, and forgotten piggy banks across the United States, there may still be more of these elusive treasures hiding in plain sight. Here's the reality. The 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny isn't just a coin. It's a story of minting quirks, of human error, and of the market's insatiable hunger for the rarest of the rare. When the Philadelphia Mint produced these coins, they left off a crucial detail: the mint mark. That tiny letter you see under the date, the D for Denver or the S for San Francisco. For some reason, it wasn't there. And that absence, that single missing mark, turned what should have been pocket change into a lottery ticket. Now, before you run to empty your couch cushions, let's make one thing very clear. Not every 1977 penny without a mint mark is a jackpot. Most of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But the truly pristine examples, the ones in mint state condition, uncirculated, flawless to the naked eye, those are the ones collectors are battling over at auction. That's why one of these elusive coins just shattered expectations and sold for nearly $1 million. Think about that for a moment. A penny you've walked past 100 times in your life could be worth more than a mansion, more than a luxury car, more than most people's entire retirement savings. And yet, millions of these coins passed unnoticed from hand to hand, spent on candy, sodas, and bus rides back in the 70s. How many of those survivors are sitting, right now, in a forgotten shoebox at the back of someone's closet? Could one of them be yours? This is where the story gets even more electrifying. The coin market isn't just about history, it's about urgency. The demand for rare U.S. coins is skyrocketing. Collectors, investors, even wealthy buyers who see coins as a hedge against inflation are pushing prices higher every single year. And when the market senses scarcity, values climb at an exponential rate, which means that penny in your possession could be worth more tomorrow than it is today. Blink, and the opportunity could vanish. Here's something most people don't realize. Condition is everything. A 1977 no-mint mark penny in worn condition? Probably worth a few dollars at best. But if you find one gleaming, untouched, still sharp in detail, that's when you're sitting on life-changing money. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC are the gatekeepers here. They're the ones who transform an ordinary-looking penny into a documented rarity with a certified grade. And with certification comes trust, and with trust comes big money. Let me ask you a question. How many times have you heard someone say, "If I only knew back then what I know now, I'd be rich"? This coin is one of those once-in-a-lifetime moments where knowledge equals wealth. The only difference is now you know. The opportunity is sitting right in front of you. The only thing left is whether you'll act on it. And here's the humorous part. Think about how many people have probably tossed one of these pennies into a vending machine, or dropped it on the floor and decided it wasn't worth the effort to bend down and pick it up. Somewhere out there, someone may have literally spent $1 million penny on a pack of gum. Doesn't that sting a little? So where does this leave you? Standing at a crossroads. You can choose to dismiss this as just another story about rare coins and go back to life as usual. Or you can take this as a wake-up call. Start looking. Start checking those jars, those old collections, those boxes you haven't opened in years. Because the person who finds the next 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in pristine condition could write an entirely new chapter in their financial life. And here's the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Experts believe there are still undiscovered examples out there, quietly waiting to be found. The question isn't whether they exist. The question is, who will find them first? If you're serious about turning old change into real wealth, about seizing opportunities others overlook, then this is your moment. Don't let it slip by. Subscribe now because every coin has a story, and the next story we uncover together could be the one that changes your life forever. Imagine for a moment that a single coin sitting quietly in your change jar could be worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that the ordinary-looking 1982 Lincoln penny could be the very key to unlocking nearly $1 million? 1 cent transformed into $982,000. That's not just pocket change. That's life-changing wealth. The story of this coin begins in the early 1980s, a time when inflation was climbing and the United States Mint faced a hard decision. Pennies made of pure copper were getting too expensive to produce. So in 1982, a transition was made, shifting from 95% copper to a cheaper zinc composition coated with copper. But here's where the magic and the mystery come in. That year, multiple varieties were struck, both copper and zinc, with small dates and large dates, and, like any great transition, mistakes were made. Among them, one variety, the 1982 small date penny made of solid copper, slipped through the cracks. Now, why does that matter? Because this mistake is the unicorn of Lincoln cents. The combination of the Denver Mint mark, the small date design, and the copper composition is so rare that collectors treat it like buried treasure. If you find one, you're not just holding a penny, you're holding a fortune. But here's the twist. Most people don't even know this variety exists. How many of these coins are still hiding in desk drawers, piggy banks, or even buried beneath couch cushions? The thought alone is enough to keep treasure hunters awake at night. Imagine the fear of throwing away a penny that could have secured your retirement, paid for your child's college tuition, or even bought you that dream beach house you've been picturing for years. Think about how many people have spent this coin unknowingly at gas stations, vending machines, or grocery stores. It's chilling to imagine that kind of wealth passing from hand to hand, unrecognized, lost forever. But that's exactly what makes this story so powerful. and why you need to know how to tell the difference. Here's the exciting part. Most 1982 pennies look the same to the naked eye, but the copper version weighs about 3.1 grams, while the zinc version is lighter at 2.5 grams. All you need is a simple scale. Imagine pulling out a handful of pennies, placing one on the scale, and suddenly watching the number pop up at 3.1. Your heart skips. You double-check the date, 1982. You see the D mint mark. And then, like something out of a movie, you realize the small date design is there. That's the jackpot moment collectors dream about. And at today's market, that coin can fetch up to $982,000. One lucky find could rewrite the story of your entire financial future. But here's the question: what would you do with that kind of wealth? Pay off every debt you've ever had? Retire early? Travel the world first class? Or maybe you'd finally build that business you've been planning in your head for years. The opportunity isn't just about the money, it's about freedom. That's what makes this search so electrifying. It's not just a coin hunt. It's a hunt for possibility. Of course, the danger is real too. Counterfeits and fakes are out there, and too many collectors rush into selling without authenticating. That's where the real fear lies. You could be sitting on something extraordinary and either not recognize it, or worse, sell it for far less than it's truly worth. The right coin, properly graded, properly authenticated, can mean the difference between a few $100s and nearly $1 million. And that's why knowledge isn't just power here. It's profit. So now the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Could your old penny jar hold one of these treasures? Could you, right now, unknowingly have one of the most valuable pennies in American history tucked inside your wallet or hidden in your dresser drawer? Every coin you overlook might be the coin that could have changed your life forever. The world is full of people who dream of wealth but never take action. Don't be one of them. Start looking through your coins. Test their weight. Learn the details. Because the next great discovery doesn't happen in some faraway place. It could happen in your very own home. If you want to live a wealthier life, if you want to be ready for opportunities like this, and if you never want to risk missing out on $1 million penny, then make sure you subscribe right now. Join a community of people just like you who are unlocking the secrets of rare coins and building real financial freedom. Because the truth is simple. Fortune doesn't always come from hard work. Sometimes, it comes from recognizing treasure hiding in plain sight. What if I told you that a single penny sitting in your kitchen drawer right now could be the difference between an ordinary life and a wealthy one? Imagine finding a coin so rare, so overlooked, that it could transform your financial future overnight. This is not fantasy. This is the story of the 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln Penny, a coin with a current market value reaching as high as $989,000. Almost $1 million. For 1 cent, most people glance at pennies and see nothing more than copper change, something you toss in a jar or forget under the car seat. But collectors see them as golden tickets, tiny relics of history capable of changing lives. And among them, the 1989 no-mint mark penny is one of the most extraordinary. But before we get into why, let me ask you, when was the last time you actually looked at your pennies? Not just glanced, but studied them. Because the truth is, most fortunes are lost simply because someone never looked closely enough. Now here's where the story gets interesting. In 1989, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Lincoln pennies. They were supposed to carry a mint mark, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, P for Philadelphia. But a small number slipped through the cracks with no mint mark at all. At the time, no one noticed. To most people, these were just regular coins. They clinked around in pockets, got passed through stores, ended up in cash registers. But collectors? They discovered something astonishing. A tiny mistake, a missing mark, a coin that shouldn't exist. And suddenly, a penny worth 1 cent became worth nearly $1 million. Think about the drama here. A coin designed to be ordinary suddenly becomes legendary because of one small omission. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Life-changing value hidden in plain sight. But before you rush to your piggy bank, let's be clear. Not every 1989 penny is rare. The key is that missing mint mark. If you're holding a 1989 penny without one, you might just be staring at a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. So how do you know if you've got the right one? First, grab a magnifying glass. Look carefully just below the date. Normally you'd see a tiny letter, D, S, or P. If it's absent, and the coin shows no signs of tampering, you could be holding treasure. Condition matters, too. Collectors prize coins with sharp details and minimal wear. A 1989 no-mint mark penny in pristine condition can fetch hundreds of thousands, with verified auction records climbing toward $989,000. Now, here's a thought that might keep you up tonight. How many people have unknowingly spent one of these pennies at the grocery store? How many of these tiny fortunes have been passed across counters for gum or coffee? That fear of missing out, that what if, is what drives collectors to comb through millions of coins. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the one to uncover the next gem. And don't think this is just for professional collectors. Regular people have struck gold literally by taking the time to check their change. Stories abound of retirees, busy parents, even kids who stumbled on rare coins in the least expected places. It's almost like the universe hiding opportunities in plain sight, waiting for those curious enough to search. But here's the urgency. Coins don't last forever in circulation. Every year, more rare pennies are lost, damaged, or melted down. The supply shrinks while demand grows. The longer you wait, the slimmer your chances of finding one. Which makes right now the best possible moment to start looking. Picture it for a moment. You're sitting at the table, coins scattered across your palm. Your heart races as you notice a 1989 penny. No mint mark, perfect shine. Suddenly, you realize this isn't just change. It's freedom. Freedom to pay off debts, freedom to retire early, freedom to live the kind of life most people only dream about. That thrill, that discovery, is why collectors never stop searching. Now let me ask you, why not you? Why not today? Costs nothing to look, but it could cost you everything if you don't. Because the opportunity to change your life might already be sitting quietly in your pocket, waiting to be seen. So check your coins. Search every drawer, every jar, every forgotten piggy bank. And when you find that one rare penny, you'll remember this moment. The moment you learned that even the smallest things can hold the greatest value. If this opened your eyes to the possibilities hidden in your change, don't let the journey stop here. Subscribe now because the world of rare coins is full of secrets, and the next one I reveal could be the key to your financial breakthrough. You don't want to miss it. What if I told you that the humble penny you barely notice in your pocket could secretly hold the power to change your financial destiny forever? A coin most people overlook, dismiss, or even throw in a jar by the bed could actually be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Today, we're talking about the 2006 D-Mint Mark Lincoln Penny, an ordinary-looking cent with an extraordinary story, a coin that in the right condition can sell for up to millions of dollars and currently commands a staggering $206,000 on the market. Think about it. How many times have you brushed past pennies without a second thought? Tossed them on a counter or left them rattling in the car cup holder? What if one of those forgotten coins was your ticket to financial freedom? What if one penny could erase your debts, secure your family's future, and even unlock the lifestyle you've always dreamed of? Now, before you doubt it, let's rewind. The 2006 D Lincoln Penny was minted in Denver, and like millions of its kind, it was designed to be completely ordinary. But here's the twist: minting isn't a flawless process. Sometimes mistakes, misalignments, or rare variations slip through unnoticed. And that's when an everyday coin transforms into a hidden treasure. A treasure that most people will never spot because they don't know what to look for. Collectors are constantly hunting these elusive gems. A pristine, uncirculated 2006 D penny, especially with errors like double die strikes or dramatic misprints, can skyrocket in value. Imagine a 1-cent coin appraised and auctioned for over $200,000. The excitement in that room is electric. Bidders raising their paddles, the price climbing higher and higher, and someone walking away holding a penny that's suddenly worth more than a luxury home. And here's where the urgency comes in. Every year that passes, more of these coins disappear into private collections. The pool shrinks. The opportunities slip away. Waiting too long could mean missing out entirely. Ask yourself, what would it feel like to one day hear about a neighbor or a stranger who cashed in their lucky penny for 6 figures, while yours sat unnoticed in a drawer? Regret is a heavy price to pay, heavier than copper ever could be. But don't worry, it's not all fear. it's also opportunity. Right now, you have the chance to start checking your coins, educating yourself, and maybe discovering a life-changing piece of history hiding in plain sight. Look for sharp details on Lincoln's profile, check the mint mark placement, search for doubling in the letters or numbers, and always keep an eye out for pristine condition. Even the smallest imperfection can mean the difference between pocket change and a fortune. Think about how stories like these inspire people to become collectors in the first place. Maybe you've heard of someone turning a small find into a financial windfall. Maybe you've dreamed of escaping the 9-to-5 grind, of traveling, of living with more freedom. Believe it or not, a single coin has already done that for others. Why not you? Of course, not every penny is a jackpot. That's the suspense, the thrill of the hunt. But the very possibility that one ordinary cent could change everything is what keeps collectors searching day after day. And that possibility is alive right now in your own change jar, your purse, or even that coin lying under the couch cushions. Here's the cliffhanger. Coins like the 2006 penny don't just vanish into obscurity. They circulate, they pass through hands unnoticed, waiting for the one person who recognizes their true value. And right now, as you're listening to this, you might already own one. Imagine the story you'd tell your children, your grandchildren. How you spotted value where others saw nothing. How a single penny transformed your future. This is your moment. Don't just let it slip by. Start checking, start learning, and start imagining what one coin could do for your life. Because hidden wealth isn't always buried deep. It can be sitting in your palm this very second. If you found this eye-opening, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next treasure hunting secret. Together, we'll uncover the coins that could change your life forever. After all, why settle for spare change when what you really hold might be a fortune in disguise? Imagine holding in your hand what looks like just another penny from your pocket change. A coin so ordinary you might not even glance at it twice. But what if I told you this tiny piece of copper, struck in 2017 at the Denver Mint, could secretly hold the power to change your life forever? Because while most people see only 1 cent, a very select few have uncovered versions of this coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some even whisper it can climb into the millions. That's right, the 2017 Lincoln Penny. A coin minted in the tens of millions, yes, but hiding rare and extraordinary errors that elevate its value far beyond what the average person could ever imagine. And tonight, you're going to learn exactly why this coin is making headlines in collector circles, how to recognize the treasure if it's hiding in your change jar, and most importantly, how you could turn 1 penny into a staggering fortune. Now, before we dive deeper, let me ask you, how many pennies have you ignored this week? Maybe left in your car console, rattling in a drawer, or slipped into the bottom of your purse? What if one of those forgotten pennies is quietly holding a market value of over $217,000? Would you still walk past it like spare change, or would you protect it like gold? The story of the 2017 penny begins innocently. The Denver Mint produced over 4 billion of them. Ordinary, everyday coins. But in that flood of production, mistakes happened. Errors.
Double dies.
Off-center strikes. Rim distortions. Tiny flaws that slipped past the watchful eyes of the Mint's inspectors. And here's the twist, those flaws are exactly what collectors crave. The more dramatic, the more valuable. Think of it as Mother Nature adding a signature on what was supposed to be a perfect copy. Suddenly, that penny is no longer just a coin. It's a piece of history. Now here's where the fear sets in. Because for every person who discovers one, countless others unknowingly spend theirs at a gas station or drop it into a vending machine. Gone forever. Imagine trading away $200,000 for a can of soda. It sounds almost comical, doesn't it? But it happens every single day. Coins with unbelievable value are slipping through fingers because people don't know what to look for. So how do you know if your penny is one of the chosen few? Start with the mint mark, the tiny letter D, under the year 2017. That's the Denver strike. Then look closer, much closer. Errors like double die obverse can show Lincoln's profile or lettering appearing doubled, almost like a ghostly reflection. Other rare examples include dramatic misstrikes where the image is off-center, giving the coin an unmistakable one-of-a-kind look. And then there are those elusive coins in near-perfect condition, graded at the highest levels by professionals, that collectors will battle over in auction houses. Those pristine survivors? They can climb into the millions. And let me tell you, auctions don't lie. Recently, rare 2017 D pennies with striking errors have been fetching prices most people wouldn't even believe if they saw it on a check. The current market value of standout pieces is over $217,000. That's life-changing money from something you could mistake for pocket change. Imagine paying off your debts, buying a home outright, or even funding your retirement. All because you took a moment to look at a penny. It's a strange thought, isn't it? The smallest coin in our currency system becoming the gateway to financial freedom. But there's a deeper lesson here. Wealth doesn't always come from the big, flashy opportunities we chase. Sometimes it comes from paying attention to the details the rest of the world ignores. That old jar of coins in your kitchen could be your ticket to a new lifestyle. And here's the exciting part. You don't need special tools to start. A magnifying glass, good lighting, and a bit of patience is all it takes. Check every 2017 D penny you come across. Hold them at an angle. Look for doubling, look for shifts, look for flaws. Every one you inspect is a lottery ticket in disguise. But let me pause and ask, what if you already had one of these rare pennies and didn't even realize it? What if it's sitting quietly in your home right now, waiting for you to notice? That thought alone is enough to send a chill down your spine. Isn't it? The urgency is real. These coins are being discovered, and the market is heating up. Collectors know that as time passes, pristine and error-filled examples become harder to find. The clock is ticking. Every year you wait, your chance of stumbling onto one shrinks. And don't forget, coin collecting isn't just about money. It's about holding history, about owning something uniquely yours. A 2017 D penny with the right flaws becomes a story, a legacy, a conversation piece that could outlive you. There's wealth, yes, but it's also wonder.so. Tonight, when you're done watching this, I challenge you to check your change, search your jars, and dig through those old drawers. Because somewhere out there, a penny is waiting. And it's not worth 1 cent. It's worth a fortune. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden treasures in your pocket, make sure you subscribe. You don't want to miss the next coin that could change your life. Because sometimes the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and stepping into financial freedom is no bigger than the size of a penny.